Welcome to The Explainer. So glad you're joining us today. Let's just jump right in, because we're looking at a pretty high-stakes reality for anyone living along the Georgia seaboard. If you own property in Glim, Camden, or McIntosh counties, you know protecting that investment isn't just about keeping the rain out. It's about literally fortifying your home against relentless, year-round environmental threats. Today, we're doing a deep dive into exactly how to defend your coastal Georgia roof. Okay, so here is our roadmap for this explainer. We're going to look at the Atlantic's invisible toll, decode some hidden storm damage, and check out coastal material science. Then we'll get into the role of a forensic insurance advocate and wrap the whole thing up with a stress-free restoration framework. But before we get into the nuts and bolts of it all, I want to ask you a really direct question. Is your roof hiding invisible storm damage? That word invisible is absolutely key here, because out in coastal environments, a healthy-looking roof, well, it's often just an illusion. You might be looking up from your driveway thinking, hey, everything looks great. But as we're about to see, the real threats, they're usually subvisual. Which brings us to Section 1, the Atlantic's invisible toll and the tactical defense against coastal weather. This concept perfectly illustrates why you need that defense: coastal friction. It is essentially this constant, ongoing negotiation between your home's structure and Atlantic-borne moisture, punishing humidity, and those seasonal storms. Down to the Georgia Sound, salt air, heat, and humidity don't just make us sweat, right? They create a baseline of technical debt. They're actively accelerating the decay of standard building materials. If you're just using standard inland roofing protocols out here, your roof is going to fail prematurely. That's just a guarantee. So who do you actually trust to build your defense against that? Well, consider the number 50. That represents the nearly 50 years of family ties that coastal Georgia Quality Roofs has to the St. Simons and Brunswick areas. They combat this coastal friction by combining deep local roots with over 20 years of technical roofing expertise. You know, they aren't just storm chasers dropping in after a hurricane. They have that historical permanence you really need to stand behind a coastal installation. Moving on to Section 2, decoding hidden storm damage and why surface-level checks completely fail. Look at this stark difference, the driveway inspection. Honestly, this is super risky. It's visual, it's quick, and it completely misses things like broken seals and micro damage. Your roof might look perfectly fine aesthetically, but underneath it could be suffering from catastrophic architectural failure. The solution is a forensic inspection. That is what a specialized team does. They get up there and identify the subvisual compromises, the micro cracks, the lifting, the bruised shingles, the things that are actually degrading the system's engineered defenses. Let's break down what those invisible failures actually look like. First up, wind-induced lifting. High winds literally pull the shingle up just enough to snap the thermal seal. And sure, the shingle might lay completely flat again, but here is the catch. Once that underside is contaminated by ocean salt spray, it is never going to reseal. Your home is now dangerously vulnerable to the next rainstorm. Second, granular compromise. Hail hits the roof. Maybe it doesn't crack the shingle, but it bruises it. It knocks off the protective granules and leaves a bald spot completely exposed to UV radiation. And finally, microfractures. These tiny little cracks act just like a straw, using capillary action to literally draw moisture right down into your home structure, causing entirely hidden rot. All right, Section 3, Coastal Material Science. Let's look at some high-performance solutions for the seaboard. So how do we actually counter that coastal friction? Let's look at 3 specific systems. Atlas systems, for example, feature Class 4 impact resistance for heavy-duty wind and debris defense. But the real game changer is the Scotchgard protector. It's not just there to stop those ugly black streaks, it literally prevents algae from growing and trapping moisture against the roof, which stops organic decay dead in its tracks. Next, Brava synthetic systems. These give you that gorgeous, luxury look of Spanish tile or cedar shake, but because they're synthetic, they have total immunity to salt air rot. Plus, they don't add massive heavy weight to your roof structure. And finally, metal roofing. Really the gold standard for maximum wind uplift resistance, and it reflects that intense Georgia heat right off your house. I absolutely love this quote from our source materials. Timeless luxury in a coastal zone is not a cosmetic choice, it is the strategic elimination of organic vulnerability. That hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? Upgrading to something like a Brava synthetic slate isn't just about making the house look incredible, though obviously it does. It is a brilliant engineering defense. You're actively removing the exact materials that the salt air and humidity want to destroy. Section 4, your forensic insurance advocate, navigating the really complex insurance landscape. Okay, here is the harsh reality. the burden of proof. As a property owner, the burden rests entirely on you to document these hidden technical failures. If an insurance adjuster walks your roof and happens to overlook sub-visual damage, like those bruised granules or broken seals we just talked about, your claim is going to get underfunded or, worse, completely denied. And that leaves the massive financial burden of future structural repairs sitting squarely on your shoulders. This is exactly where the advocacy advantage comes in. Coastal Georgia Quality Roofs actually steps in as your forensic advocate. They don't just hand you a piece of paper with a quote and say, good luck. They provide incredibly detailed, high-resolution photo documentation of all that microdamage. They'll actually meet the insurance adjuster directly on site during the walkthrough to make absolutely sure every single microfracture is accounted for and fully funded. And their ultimate goal? Maximizing that claim to get you better than pre-storm material upgrades like those Class 4 impact-resistant shingles. They take the burden of proof off of you and put it on the experts. Section 5. The Stress-Free Framework. A disciplined approach to structural restoration. Let's just quickly fly through their 8-step process. It kicks off with a free, no-obligation diagnostic inspection and a really thorough evaluation of the hidden structure. Step 3 is crucial. You get a clear estimate and your options. Total transparency, absolutely zero pressure. If you need it, they provide that on-site insurance claim support in Step 4. Then you've got flexible project scheduling and professional installation by certified crews. Step 7 is complete cleanup, which we'll talk about in a second, and it all wraps up with a final walkthrough to guarantee you are 100% satisfied. The whole thing is designed to keep your property functioning like a home, not a chaotic construction site. Now, regarding that installation, it relies heavily on this, the Certainty Master Shingle Applicator Certification. Why does that actually matter to you? Well, in the roofing industry, manufacturer lifetime warranties are pretty much voided if the roof is installed incorrectly. So certification is basically your ultimate structural insurance. By using strictly certified installers who are also going through monthly OSHA safety training, they are making sure your warranty is rock solid and your roof is going to perform exactly as it was engineered to. And I really want to highlight one specific detail from Step 7, the magnetic nail sweep. After the installation is done, they sweep your entire property with these high-powered magnets to collect any stray metallic debris. I think this brilliantly illustrates their respect for the client. It completely eliminates liability, and it ensures your yard is perfectly safe for your kids, your pets, and your car tires. It's one of those small details that just makes a massive difference in your post-construction peace of mind. As we wrap up this explainer today, I want to leave you with one final, kind of provocative thought. Look at your home today and really ask yourself, is your current roof truly prepared for the next coastal weather event? Or are you simply hoping that the damage remains invisible for just one more season? You know, it really is time to stop relying on luck and those quick driveway inspections. You need to secure your forensic defense. If you're a homeowner in country club estates, Brunswick, St. Simons, or anywhere along the coast, please don't wait for the next major storm to expose your roof's weaknesses. Give them a call at 912-268-0486 or visit coastalgeorgiaqualityroofs.com to schedule your free, no-obligation forensic inspection. Let the experts uncover the invisible, advocate for your claim, and build a real tactical defense shield over your home. Thank you so much for joining me on The Explainer today, and hey, stay safe out there on the coast.